Hello, Family Matters-ish, to the best of our ability. We're here for another week. We took last week off because we're exhausted. We work really hard. So anyway, Jay Staples, that is Kevin Petersen. We do this every week to the best of our ability.
Yep.
Sponsored by the one and only Jaywalker Lodge. I even got their hat on. So
hold on.
I'm doing a little bit of my part, but
all right.
There's also a part of me that Jaywalker doesn't like. No, Jay doesn't represent us. So I kind of feel odd. But anyway, JaywalkerLodge.com couldn't do this show without us because obviously it's such a professional done show. And the talent on this show alone. Now, let me just tell you. But Kevin, how you doing?
It's unparalleled is the word you're looking for. I'm good, Jay. It's great to see you, buddy. It's really great to see you. I love it. I don't know why we don't do this every day. This is just so much fun.
We answer your questions. We ease your fears, calm your fears, ease anxiety, whatever you want to call it. Keep the questions coming. And so I thought I'd do something a little bit different, Kevin. So instead of just kind of being all over the place and me kind of tripping over my words and stuff, we're going to go with kind of a theme. So I've kind of went back on, keeping a theme. And so I want to go specifically, we've got questions and let's just say, people in treatment, family members, let's just start with this. Family members are curious, what is their role once their loved one is in treatment?
We had this discussion last night in our family group, our weekly family group at Jaywalker.
It's like I'm listening on.
I know. It just makes me so happy. This is what I always tell the families. This is the most important thing. The best thing you can do to support your person is to do your own work. Happy families come from happy individuals. Happy individuals work on their shit. Everybody has shit. And we're going to talk about your childhood. And so while your person,
I know that's coming and it still trips me up.
While your person is in treatment, that's an opportunity for you to be looking at your stuff too and digging in because okay. So here's my other catchphrase. You can't expect them to do something you're not willing to do. So if you want him or her to go to treatment for 30, 60, 90, 6 months or a year and really dig in, you got to do the same thing. You don't got to go to treatment, but you got to be willing to dig in. And that's why we have an online education program. That's why we do our weekly meeting. That's why we do our family weekends. And those things aren't just all la-di-da-di funny. They're heavy intensive of, hey, we're going to teach you how to communicate. We're going to teach you about attachment and anxious attachment and how that relates to trauma and how that relates to addiction. And the parents always come away with oh my God, but that's the thing, man. And which goes to the bigger theme. And what I always say is the best, way to help him is to fix the family system. If the family system changes, he has to change in order to be a part of it. That's just how it works. You and I are products of that. When our families were like, we're not doing this anymore. We were like, wait, hold on. You're serious this time. And that the way you get a family to do that is through psychoeducation and helping them understand, okay, everything we were doing instinctively was 180 degrees wrong. But it's okay. That's just, it's instinctive to try to grip harder, So that's the answer.
Well, like you were saying, the individual's got to change. I would say they got to do two things. Either they're going to make a conscious effort to push away from a family that's getting better, or they're going to, like I always say, jump on the change bus. So they're absolutely going to have to make that a decision. They're going to change one way or the other, push further away or join in on the change, because There's nothing more powerful, I will say, like you're nothing more powerful from coming from an addict that saw a family start doing some changes and talk differently. Like, who are you? I even said that to my mom when, who are you? That rattles the cage. There's nothing, I mean, it's, if the family changes, the addict coming from someone, like I remember hanging up that phone and just being like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like my mom's talking different, guys. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, what do you, I was like, she's just shut up. She's talking like my life's over.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
And then I had another guy go, my mom started doing that 2 weeks ago. Like, I was like, God, it's contagious.
It's exactly the same thing with me, man. When my dad called, we sat me in a car for 4 hours. He's like, I love you, but I don't believe a word out of your mouth. And from today forward, you are not welcome in the family. And then people need to know, I wasn't living at home. I wasn't on the payroll. I had a job. I had an apartment. I had a car, you know, and that they gave me, but whatever, you know. And but those, I mean, that's how, I mean, they were just like, we're done. And I'm like, oh God, we're going to play this game again. But like you said, they stuck to it. And something changed. They changed. And I was like, oh crap.
I mean, look at what they did. They got me sober and everything. Like, you know, proved them wrong. They said I'd never get sober.
I know.
Yeah. Let's talk specifically, because this happens all the time. This is the loved one terrorizing with the calls back home and stuff, threatening the divorce, you don't love me, get me out of here. Just, it can be a number of different things. You know what I'm talking about, the terrorizing family members with that 15-minute phone call every week.
I swear to God, Jay, it's like you were in the meeting last night, because that was.
Well, I'm there in spirit, you put this hat on, and it
was really funny because I had one family saying, well, he called us before the meeting and was basically telling us, I'm good. I am like the star pupil here. I am ready to come home. And, me and the other people are just like, the other therapists are just like, And they said, well, then he went to the meeting and then he called us after the meeting and and he's like, well, okay, well, maybe, and there was another mom on the meeting and I was like, I want you to talk to them and tell them what I told you. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, remember when you first started coming to this meeting? What did you tell me? Oh yeah, no, he called me once in the morning, called me once at night. And I said, and what did I tell you? I don't have to talk to him every day. And how'd that work out? She's like, it made a difference. You don't have to take the phone calls. And what I always tell families is, like at Jaywalker, we have a very structured environment around the phone system. You get your phone once a week, and then as you elevate and do everything you're supposed to, you get twice a week, 3 times a week. Then we have a house phone that they have access to, and we're happy to give them access to the house phone when they're not in programming. What I always tell the families is, when you talk to them, set up a time for a regular phone call. Once a week, 10 or 15 minutes. Hi, how you doing? What's going on? And I'm going to give you some canned responses. First one is, right, I'm like, write this down, and I'm going to wait for you to get a pen. They're like, oh, okay. I'm like, we are going to rely on the advice of the clinical team. And I said, you're just going to repeat that over and over and over. And I said, here's the next one. I love you. And the answer is no. And they're like, I'm like, write it down. So you're going to be repeating these things. And I swear to God, almost every single family comes back and they're like, I said that. And I mean, he got angry and pissed and, cursed my name and cursed Jaywalker's name. But they said, our lives have gotten a lot better because, they'd be going to dinner or going to like a business thing or a business or a show or something. And then, the Jaywalker phone number comes up and they're like, I'm like, no. If there's a crisis, I'll call you. You don't gotta You don't got to answer that. It's not a crisis. He's fine. Now, the hard part is that what I'm telling mom and dad or whoever, wife, whatever, husband, I'm kind of putting them out of a job, right? Because what they're used to is being the person at the other end of the phone that fixes everything or makes everything better or plays therapist or plays whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you need to get out of that role. And the other thing, okay, there's another thing, write this down. Talk to your therapist, talk to your sponsor, talk to your peers. I want to know what they think and what they say, and just push it back into his lap and let him deal with it. So that's the answer.
It reminds me of my mom. She would sleep with like every phone under her pillow when I was out running the streets per se or something like that. But in a sense, like, thankfully, my last treatment center there was one day, it was Sundays, and it wasn't late night either. So, I mean, it cut off at like 7 p.m. or something. So we couldn't terrorize them because we only got one call. But this is just an ongoing issue. It is with every family, and you do not have to take that call. And if you miss the call, he's still in a very safe place. So don't worry. If you skip a week, you'll be all right. But so once again, no mention of Jay, but it was Kevin. This one's a while back. So just so you know that this is when we basically, I think, first started the show or something, and they're even then they're saying like, Kevin, like, it's like I don't even exist or something. But very good question. I want to pull it back up, because we're talking about people early in treatment, the calls home, the terrorizing, what role the family plays. Where do you stand with, let's just call them big decisions? You got like divorces here, you got school, going back, flunking out. I mean, all these. How do you deal with family when they want these big decisions, like
Sure.
divorce, the schools, the whatever, the big decisions?
Right.
What do you do when they're just entering treatment and the family's like, well, yeah.
So I'll tell you, I had a situation like this week where it was the first of the month, right? So it's rent time and car payment time and bill paying time, and they're like, what do we do? And I said, well, first things first, don't inconvenience yourself. So if it comes down to paying my bills or paying his bills, you pay your bills. Number one. Number two, if you've co-signed for any of that crap, then you need to protect yourself. But the other thing is, I was like, they're like, well, we don't really want them to keep the apartment. I'm like, yeah. Send him a letter and say, hey, thanks anyway. He's not coming back, and we'll come clean out everything. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I mean, I know they're going to get mad and right. But, there's the famous story of, when Columbus came to the United States, or not Columbus. It was one of the Spanish explorers came here, and they landed, and he had the guys break up the boats and build huts from that. And he's like, we were committed. There was no boat home, boat gone, and that's what you kind of got to do. You got to get them committed. The old story, Jay.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, history is not my thing.
Well, so this is the old adage, right? Is that, what the difference between being involved and being committed is?
No.
In the bacon and egg breakfast, the chicken's involved, but the pig's committed. Yes. You got to get committed,
I got halfway through. I was like, oh, yeah. But I mean, just even when they say when you get early in recovery, don't make big decisions or, like so forth. So I think, I started a thing for the new year, instead of a new year resolution, to pick one word that you want to kind of work on through the course of the year. And I picked patience. And it's not something that, we've never been friends. Let's just be honest with you. I'm reactive. I don't want to. I want instant gratification and so forth. Patience and I are mortal enemies. But I think within families, there's patience isn't a bad virtue here. Like, you don't need to make rash decisions in early recovery. Having patience, like, everything will still be there. You don't need to make these sweeping changes or whatever it may be that you may or may not be in your right mind anyway. So,
right.
you know,
That's why they always tell us, right? No relationships in the first year. Of course, I mean, I've still yet to find somebody that followed that, but yeah, that's the thing, man. You're not. I mean, digging back into the homework that I make the parents do. My hero, Dr. Anna Lemke at Stanford University, who wrote Dopamine Nation, she's like, it takes 18 to 24 months for their brains to fully come back. So they may be sober 6 months, 9 months. They're not functionally thinking that way. They're still, the alcoholic behavior, the addict behavior is still in there looking to get out, and like you said, the impatience, the instant gratification, the I want right now, that's still there, and that's gonna be in charge. And so that's why you got to be like, we're committed. We're gonna be the pig. We're gonna be committed. We're gonna stay focused. And then you're gonna hear crap like, oh, I have treatment fatigue. Oh, I just miss. Here's my other favorite one. Oh man, I just don't want to keep taking your money.
Yes. Wasting your time. I actually used that a few times, but I always tell families that they're kind of detoxing or withdrawing from loving their loved one. If their loved one's in treatment, I'm curious, and I pretty much know the answer, but there's within that withdrawal or detox when, maybe you did an intervention, maybe whatever it may be, maybe they called and said, I'll go get help or something. Loved one goes into treatment, and this family is just left with blah. That withdrawal alone, like it takes. You're talking about it takes some time for the brain to come back from. It takes some time for family to kind of understand what a normal life is with addict or loved one safe.
Oh yeah, another topic of the conversation last night. By the way, it's like, I swear to God, it's like you were there. Was someone saying, I feel guilty in saying this, but when he's in jail or in treatment, I actually relax. I'm like, there's nothing to feel guilty about that at all. And I was pushing this one family. I'm like, hey, we really want you to dig into the homework. And they're like, hey, here's the thing. We're collecting our breath here. We're just, for like the next week or so, we just need to be like, I'm like, yeah, no, that's perfectly okay. That's fine. Don't worry about it. So yeah.
Kevin, you hit the nail on the head. There's underlying issues for everyone that has any type of addiction. The substance is just a symptom.
Yes, it is. And substance abuse is its own separate entity. And I totally agree with what Daniel's saying. That's a great observation. The thing I would also throw at that is, so like I had a sibling in the room next to me, and she experienced all the same stuff I did. And she smoked. She did. She may or may not have used substances. She didn't have a problem.
Don't be airing out her dirty laundry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man. She's coming here tomorrow, man. I'm going to watch out. Yes, I agree that there is always an underlying themes of stuff. And God, that was one of our conversations last night. We had Dr. Brian Daniels, the psychologist from The Landing, come, and someone asked that question. And he was like, well, yeah, there is. And at the same time, people's bodies react differently to drugs and alcohol. So yes, trauma, mental health, depression, anxiety. Oh, I'm going to self-medicate. A lot of people can do that and be like, whoops, this is a bad idea. Us, it kicks us into gear, and so you have to acknowledge that throws you into overdrive and an inability to pull it back, which of course makes the mental health work. So Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I personally do not understand why they call addiction a family disease. Like you know, everything you're saying, I just, it doesn't register. But I kid. It truly is
That's
I have never heard anything more true. I didn't believe it at the time, but I'm just saying it truly is a family disease. So, all right,
yeah.
Kevin, you did a good job. You can take the rest of the day off. All right.
I wish I got two more. Yeah.
I'll see you next
Yeah.
week.
All right.